I know that we see virtual reality and these technologies in everyday life, but of course it's incredibly relevant when it comes to mental health care. And I think, you know, the boundaries are beyond our imagination currently about where all of this can go. And I think we just need to be innovative, and we need to be creative, and we need to think big about how this technology can really make a difference for people with complex mental health. So we did a brilliant piece of work alongside University of Kent, and this was looking at the feasibility of using virtual reality and the head-mounted displays with people with dementia. And I think people were quite surprised that that's what we were looking at. And of course what we found is that people with dementia did use the VR, despite the concerns that other people might have had, and staff were a bit unsure about whether it would work. But it was feasible, and what we found was that people really enjoyed it, and that there's real kind of opportunities here when it comes to quality of life and improving well-being, and the kind of social element as well. So I think there's an assumption that VR is an individual pursuit, but what we found was that people really enjoyed using it. People with dementia really enjoyed using it, and sharing their experience with the people around them, and then also reminiscing on their experiences as well. I think a lovely example is one of our late patients, Drew. I did lots of work with him in relation to virtual reality. He was part of our research, but also really enjoyed getting involved in any media that we did around it, and then obviously having sessions as well. And the lovely thing with Drew is that he used the experiences that he had within the VR to then tell other people about his adventures. So, you know, walking with dinosaurs or going on a motorbike track. I think he did some fishing, those kind of things. And what I loved is that I would hear him, you know, talking with other people and talking about what he'd seen within the virtual environment. And it just really showed the impact that that can have on somebody who, you know, ultimately can be limited in where they can go to. So Drew came from Scotland, and so I remember we had a virtual environment which was some sort of Scottish Highlands, and it was just lovely to transport him and all of us. He told us all about it, and he was singing sort of traditional Scottish songs, and transported all of us into Scotland for that moment from here in Northampton. So a project that we're just wrapping up, which was sort of our phase 2, has been looking at more individualised virtual environments. That again has been with University of Kent. But our phase 3 now is really thinking about how do we integrate this into everyday care on our wards? How do we get from, you know, having a VR kit and making sure that actually it gets used? And so I think there's a lot that we learned from the work that we've done so far. So we learned, for example, that there were kind of preconceptions that VR wouldn't be suitable, and yet then when staff saw the VR in use, all of them then decided it was a great idea. So we know that there are these barriers. We know that there are time barriers, and you know, lots of competing demands. So we want to look at how do we implement this in practice? How do we translate this research so that it's in our day-to-day care? And then how do we share that with other organisations? So our research and our publications have been cited all over the world. So people are really interested in this concept. But I think we're all stuck now about how do we make this every day, because we know that these kind of technologies can be transformational, can be an amazing tool within our broader toolkits when it comes to interventions and when it comes to supporting people with complex mental health.